fire off. I might just start with Andy Moners at the end. Is he
Yeah.
okay? What's the situation with his knee or his ankle?
Yeah, not quite sure of the extent of it, but knee, we'll have to get some more information. Looked pretty nasty. Obviously, he's pretty flat at the moment, but we'll have to go away and get a scan just to confirm it. So I'm sure we'll send something out the next 24, 48 hours. But yeah, it didn't look good from a visual point of view, but hoping for the best there.
Are you fearing it could be an ACL?
Well, I just don't know. Look, obviously the docs are with him at the moment, family's there as well. So, as I said, we'll get a bit more information, but it didn't look good. But you hope in these situations it might not be as bad as what it seems. But once I get the scan done, we'll get a bit more info there.
On the scoreboard, it was relatively close up until three-quarter time. But it felt in a way that you guys were on top of them for the most part. Is that how you felt?
Yeah, it was good to kick away towards the end and obviously see a fair bit we've been working on over the summer. We've got some new guys coming into the club who are playing significant roles for us. I thought Harry Sharp was really, really good. Xavier Lindsay, Harvey Langford as well. And we've been able to expose some guys to different roles. So to be able to actually perform against an opposition instead of yourself where everyone knows what's happening, it was a good hit out today. And look, they've still got some quality players as well. So it was a bit of an arm wrestle there for a while, sort of 2-goal margin, but to our boys' credit, they really worked hard in that last quarter and into the wind as well to kick away was a great result for them.
What do you make of Clayton Oliver's game?
Yeah, look, it was good to see Clary get back to his best. Like, he's still got a lot of room for improvement, but he's sharing the load in there. We don't just have to rely on Claz anymore. Obviously, to throw Tommy Sparrow in there, Trent Rivers played in there as well, Harvey, Cozzy. We're starting to get some guys back as well next week in Vines and track 2. So a little bit of depth in there just takes the load off of his shoulders. He can go forward a bit more. We're trying to expose him to that. But it was great to see him back to what looked like his best around the footy. And we know he's still got so much growth in him as well.
Take us inside his pre-season. How much work has he done? Because it feels chalk and cheese compared to 12 months ago.
Oh, absolutely. Obviously, last year he was dealing with a fair bit away from the game. And I suppose we didn't get him till probably this time last year. So to have a whole summer working closely with his teammates, staff, we've put our arms around him and tried to get the best version of Clayton Oliver. We started to see that today, and his training's been outstanding. He works really hard on his game. He's in the gym all the time. He's doing extra touch. You can never question him in that regard. He's had to deal with some off-field stuff, and he's got that stuff in order, and he's really reconnected back with his playing group, and that's what we love about it. It's not just Clary the footballer, we also love Clary the person and want to see the best version of him, and we're starting to see that now, which is fantastic because when you get them both together, you get that sort of performance today.
From a physical and conditioning point of view, is it when you see him making those multiple efforts inside a contest that you know he's really fit?
Oh, absolutely. And if you think of last year, he was training by himself, but not with the group, and there's a big difference in that. So to actually have him around the group and training hard, he has got those second and third efforts. I thought by the end of last year, it doesn't matter if you're the best player in the competition, if you don't do a full pre-season or a pre-season with a club, you're going to find it hard. Even the best players over time have been a bit inconsistent. We saw a bit of that in his performance last year. There's some good. There was some games where he would have wanted them back, but we're starting to see a better version of him this year, that's for certain.
If you're a Melbourne supporter out there, braving the heat to watch him play, you come away feeling pretty happy.
I think you'd be pretty happy with what you saw from him and a few others as well. It's good. As I said, it's a practice match, but you're getting an opportunity to play against an opposition team instead of yourself. So we saw some good performances. As I said, I thought Harry Sharp, Jacob Van Ruin, but through the midfield as well, we're starting to see some guys really step up and take the game to another level, and it's taking the load off of our senior leaders. Obviously, a lot of them didn't play today, and to see some other guys get an opportunity was great.
You mentioned your two most recent first-round picks. What about one from a few years ago who we haven't seen just yet, Matt Jefferson? How close is he to a debut? It looked like he's built across the pre-season on the back of the Casey form and showed it today. Yeah,
I think last year there was a real turning point for him for probably the second half of the year, midway during the year. He really worked hard on his contest work and started to see some results at VFL, and he's carried that through to AFL, an AFL game. So he's had a pretty big summer. We're excited. I think he's got real good footy IQ and his leading patterns and his ability to hit the scoreboard we know is there. So as any young player, and especially a key forward, it does take time. So we're hoping Jeffo gets exposed to some AFL footy this year. Played really well today, hit the scoreboard a couple of times, and he's still got some growth in his game as well. So those guys we don't want to rush. We want to make sure that when they get in, they're there to stay. So he's getting himself to a position now where we can sit there and say, yep, he's ready for AFL football.
What did you make of Tommy Campbell's game? obviously going up against Tristan Cherry.
Yeah.
Big task.
Yeah, it is a big task, but he's been doing it all summer against another guy in our team that's pretty handy. So, big TC, he's a real workhorse. He's a lovable character. He's been really good for this group. It's been great for Gorney as well. Gorney's had some real competition. He's taken out a few blokes as well at training, so Gorney copped one too. So, TC's been fantastic for our group, and he's actually given us some depth there in that position. Now, it gives us the option of, do we play 2 rucks? So we've also got forwards that can play second ruck as well. So we've got some depth in that position now, and it also gives you the possibility maybe throughout the course of the year where you go, well, Maxi, we might be able to manage you as we did today, because we know what Tommy's been a bit of a journeyman across the time, but when you look at it, he's probably always been the second ruck at the clubs that he's been at. So we know he's more than capable of playing that role for us. So we're excited by what Tommy's able to bring to this group. And as I said, he's worked Gorney over a fair bit this summer, so it's only going to be good for Gorney too.
What's your plan ahead of round 1? You've rested quite a few first choice players today. Do you expect them all to make the trip to Perth and play for it?
Yeah, I do. Obviously, we'll get through next week's training sessions, but we expect those guys that didn't play. Caleb Windsor had a session today. Obviously, he's come back from the infection, so whether we look at him for 3 quarters, full game, that'll just determine on his capacity at the moment. Obviously, coming out of a boot and the surgery, but those guys that missed today had a training session yesterday before our captain's run, so we expect all of those guys to come back. So what's that? That's 8 players, and Jack Henderson trained with the guys as well. So obviously we've got to upskill Jack a little bit around game plan and that, but he's a mature player who gets that stuff. So yeah, we could see up to 8 changes next week, potentially 9.
Could include Christian Petrarca as well in that.
Yeah, no, Track will be ready to go. Vine's exactly the same. So Track will tell you probably could have played today, but it's like we're managing those guys so that they're ready for the season at hand.
Jacob Van Rooyen, I mean, his attack on the ball, I mean, never really in doubt, but he seemed really clean with his hands going for the mark.
Yeah, I thought early the forwards, those key forwards, the wind probably caught them off guard a little bit. It was a little bit fumbly at ground level, and the ball sort of come onto those guys pretty quickly in the air. But I thought after quarter time, all of them settled. Obviously, as you said, Rui played really well. Rui's been doing a lot of work on his forward craft, and we're trying to teach him to get separation and just find some easy ball. We know what he's like in a contested situation, but we're trying to get him some easier footy, and I thought he did that really well today. I thought, as we said before, Jeffo, he played really, and I thought Daniel Turner as well bobbed up and kicked a couple. So to get a spread from those key forwards is a great result, and it gives us a bit of a headache at selection now.
Want to see more from the D's? And don't forget to subscribe up here.